welcome back to another video, where today I'll be going over more of the same types of questions I did in the previous video. So I'll be solving this question at the top here, but first I want to show you something quickly, and this is going to show you how we write things. So typically with these types of questions, we're looking at the bottom one here. What I've been doing is when I want to isolate x, for example, in this question, I want to add 7 to get rid of the negative 7, right? So I've been doing this. I've been writing x minus 7 plus 7 to show that negative 7 and 7 equals 0. And then I said that's equal to 8 plus 7, because since we're adding 7 on the left side, we're doing the same thing on the right side. Now, this is how your teacher will probably write it out when you're first learning how to do this. But once you know how to do this, you don't write this plus 7 here, because it's you just know that you're adding 7 on this side, so therefore the negative 7 doesn't exist anymore, but you're adding 7 to this side. So instead of writing negative 7 plus 7, you would just put the 7 to the other side but not write this. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So x is minus 7 equals 8. Instead of writing x minus 7 plus 7, you would just know in your mind that you're adding 7 to this side, so you have to add 7 to this side. So the next step would be x equals 8 plus 7, right? And you know that because you're adding 7 to this side, so therefore you have to add 7 to this side, but you don't write that out because it's kind of seen as a waste of time, and you kind of just know how to do it already. But when you're first learning how to do it, your teacher will generally write out everything. So for this question at the top here, I'll write it out. I'll write out everything, but going forward in future videos, I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to do the simple stuff in my mind. So if you don't know how to do that, watch the previous videos. But yeah. So just, we don't have to look at this anymore. I just want to show you how I'm going to write things going forward. But in this top question, I'll write everything out. So solve for the variable 4x plus 10 equals 2x plus 8. So with this type of question, you want to get all the numbers with an x in it to one side and all the numbers without an x to the other side. So what I want to do is I want to get this 2x to this side so that 4x and 2x are on the left side. And I want to get 10 to the right side so that 8 and 10 are on the right side. So how am I going to do that? Well, this is positive 2x. So if I want to make it 0, I have to subtract 2x. So I'll put an equal sign here. So I'm going to say 2x minus 2x plus 8. And since I'm subtracting 2x here, I'm going to do the same thing to this side. So 4x minus 2x plus 10. Okay, so now these cancel out because 2x minus 2x is 0. So now we're left with 4x. Well, 4x minus 2x is 2x, so I can simplify this. And then I'm going to kind of do multiple steps. Actually, no, I'll write it out. I'll write it all out. So we have now 2x plus 10 equals 8, because 8 is the only thing on the right side right now, because the 2x cancel out. 4x minus 2x is 2x, and then we just bring the 10 down. So now we want to get this 10 to the other side. So in order to get it to the other side, I have to make this 0, because keep in mind, you're trying to isolate for the x. So we get rid of 10 by subtracting 10. But since we're subtracting 10 on the left side, we have to do the same thing to the right side. So 2x plus 10 minus 10 equals, and then we have to subtract 10 on this side, so 8 minus 10. And then 10 and 10, 10 minus 10, it's 0, so we can cross them out. You don't have to cross them out on your test, I'm just doing it so it's easier for you to see. So now we're left with 2x equals 8 minus 10 is negative 2. So now we want to isolate for the x. So how do we do that? We divide both sides by 2 because x is being multiplied by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is just 1, and then 1 times x is just x. So divide by 2 on both sides. And x equals negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. right? And we can check our answer here. So that's 1. Hopefully you guys know that. Sorry, okay, I'll fix it. I don't want you guys to get confused. So negative 1. So we can actually check our answer here by substituting negative 1 in for x. So 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, because we're using this negative 1 for the x. Negative 4 plus 10 is 6. So therefore this side should also equal 6. And if it does, we know negative 1 is the answer. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 8 is 6. So therefore we know this is correct. So that's the last question I'm going to do, where I write everything out. But going forward now, I'm going to do things a little more quickly. But you should know what I'm doing if you found this all easy. So yeah. Alright, so now we have another question here. 4y minus 6 equals 10 plus 13y plus 2. Solve for the variable, so we have to solve for y here. So, same process. We want to get all of the numbers with a letter in it to one side, and all of the numbers without a letter in it to the other side. So, what I'm going to do here is I want to get this 14y to the right side, because the goal is to get 13y minus 4y, and that'll equal 9y. So I'll be dealing with a positive number that has a y in it. Whereas if I get this 13 to the left side, I'm subtracting 13y on this side, so I have to subtract 13y on that side. But 4y subtracting 13y will equal a negative number. And it's just easier to deal with positive numbers. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to get this 4y to the right side. So I'm going to subtract 4y. So I'm not going to write that out, but I just know that I'm subtracting 4y. So this is negative 6 equals 10 plus 13y. And I'm subtracting 4y on this side. I did that in my head, and that's what you're all going to do eventually. So I'm subtracting 4y on this side. So I'm going to erase this here because you know we're solving for y. So you don't need to see this. Just so we need some more space here. So yeah, minus 4y, and then we write this plus 2 out. Okay? So now, there are multiple ways to do this. You can solve for this, 13y minus 4y, you can perform that equation, or you can move the 10 and the 2 to the other side of the equation. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. So I want to get rid of the 10. So if I want to get rid of this 10, it's positive 10. So I want to subtract 10. So because 10 minus 10 is 0. So therefore, since I'm subtracting 10 on this side, I have to do the same thing to this side. So this is negative 6 minus 10. Because I was subtracting 10 on this side, but I did it in my head again. So now, therefore, this 10 is gone. So now I can write out 13y minus 4y plus 2. Okay? And now I do the same thing with this 2. I want to get rid of this 2 because the goal is to isolate for the y. So I want to subtract 2 on this side. But since I'm subtracting 2 on this side, I have to do the same thing to the left side. So again, I'm not writing it out here, but I have to write it out here. Okay? And that's equal to 13y minus 4y. So now what we can do is we can just perform these steps and then solve for the y. So negative 6 minus 10, negative 16, minus 2, negative 18. So negative 18, let me just make sure. 6 plus negative, yeah, that looks good. And then 13y minus 4y is just 9y. So 9y. And then to isolate for the y here, it's being multiplied by 9 right now. So if I want to get rid of that 9, I want to divide by 9. Because 9 divided by 9 is 1, and anything times 1 is just itself. So this is equal to, we're dividing by 9 here. So we have to do the same thing to the left side. This equal sign's in a bad spot. So that's equal to 9 divided by 9 is just 1. 1y, we don't write the 1. So y is equal to negative 18 divided by 9 is negative 2. So y is equal to -2. And again, we can check our answer by substituting -2 into these two equations. So -2, 4 times -2 is -8, minus 16, this is -14. So this side should equal -14. So 13 times the y, which is the -2, this is -26. So 10 plus -26 is -16. -16 plus 2, -14. So we know y is -2. This is correct. So that's how you pretty much solve simple equations. Pretty simple process. And yeah.